The end of the season is approaching. We have viewer questions submitted on our website. We're going to look at viewer submitted questions today. Stick around. Greetings. Welcome back to the Basketball Rules Expert. You've got questions, viewers have questions, and they've submitted them. Let's take a look at viewer questions in a mailbag episode today and start with our very first question. Team A, BJ asks, Team A has possession of the ball in the front court. A1 attempts pass to A2. Team B is on defense and B1 deflects the pass. The deflection is clear. The ball then bounces off of A2's foot, who's in the front court as well, and goes into the backcourt, where A1 is the first to get the ball and regains possession. Is this a backcourt violation, or is this clean and should play continue? Right? This is a really common situation. BJ, right? And there's often confusion, but it's really straightforward at the high school level. The confusion comes with perception about what happens at other levels. So in this situation, it's really straightforward. The key components are team control on the court, front court status, last to touch front court, first to touch backcourt, and that exists on this play. The deflection by the defense, which is obvious to all the stakeholders in the game, does not change team possession. Last to touch in the front court, first to touch in the backcourt. This is a backcourt violation by rule, and one that can often, if this occurs in your game, invariably the offended coach, they're doing this, right? And they're, I think, for the most part, naturally confused. There is confusion about backcourt rules. We just have to be ready for that. And obviously we don't want, as an official, to be confused, but this would be a backcourt violation by rule. Twist on the pass deflected by a defender that goes towards the basket. We previously on 5 Play Friday and on Basketball Rules Expert, we've recognized the fact that a ball thrown from beyond the three-point arc in National Federation of High School Basketball rules, if it passes through the goal, shall be ruled a three-point goal. And this refers to that. So a twist on the pass deflected by a defender that goes in towards the basket, when it is on its downward trajectory, can a defender grab the ball in a situation that would normally be a goaltending? When it's on the rim, can they contact the ball? When it's in the cylinder, can they contact the ball? If it is not considered a try until it passes through the ring, would these then not be goaltending? Eric Eichacker brings the question, and it's great, to understand that situation, that unique situation. That unique situation presented by a ball being thrown from beyond the three-point arc that passes through the goal, right? It is not a try, but if it passes through, it's to be considered a three-point goal. So if it is not a try, can we have goaltending? No, we cannot. If it's not a try, can we have basket interference? If we contact the ball when it's on the ring, when the ball is on the ring, if we contact either the ball or the basket, that is basket interference by rule. Is a try required in order to have basket interference? No, it is not. You can have basket interference during a throw-in pass. A throw-in pass is contacted above the ring. That is basket interference by rule. Contacting the ball when it is on the ring, or contacting the basket, or contacting the ball while it is in the imaginary cylinder is basket interference. Why am I having a little brain fart on that? So we cannot have goaltending in that situation. If we had the horn while the ball is in flight, that since it is not a try, if it passed through, it would not count. The ball had become dead. So, a great follow-up question, so we clarify those elements of a play scenario where a ball is thrown from beyond the three-point arc and then something happens at the basket. Obviously, if it passes through, we're going to score it as a three-point goal by rule using National Federation of High School Basketball rules and interpretations and case play. I am wondering how you would handle this situation, asks Shane Clark. A1 is fouled and shooting bonus free throws. A1 makes the front end, but during the shot, A2 fouls B1. How would we handle the second free throw of bonus, and where would Team B get the ball? What if Team B was in the bonus? Thanks a lot. Well, thank you, Shane, for the question. Of course, this gets probes at a previous erroneous ruling that I had, but let's think this through, right? So we have bonus free throws, either 1-and-1 or 2-shot bonus. The player releases a throw and it is successful. It must be 1-and-1 because the two players are competing for rebounding here, right? And during the competition for rebounding, while the ball is in flight, a teammate of the thrower fouls a player from Team B, right? We are going to penalize that foul. Obviously, we still have a merited free throw due to A1, right? Because their first free throw was successful. Did the foul by a teammate of the free thrower cause the ball to become dead? No. If the throw had been released. Which gets back to my previous erroneous ruling, right? If the throw has been released, a foul by a teammate of the thrower, we are going to penalize that. Either it will be, if the ball had been released, bonus free throws, if the other team was in bonus, or a throw-in at the spot nearest the foul. But since we have a player who is due another merited free throw, we will clear the lane in either event, no matter what happens next, allow that player to attempt their merited free throw, and then enforce the penalty for the foul. If the other team was not in the bonus, it would simply be an end line throw into that team at the spot nearest the foul. And if it was bonus, we would resume the game with bonus free throws at the other end for the offended player with the lane filled, and that would be how we resume play in that instance. In these moments where we have free throw violations, again, we always caution as officials, it's a situation where we can, for whatever reason, allow ourselves to be distracted from the game, right? So it's great to review these situations and so we can administer them with confidence when they occur in our game. Thanks, Shane Clark, for the question submission. And as usual, we have full rules support for our adjudication of that play. And having support is tremendous. And we have a group of tremendous show supporters here. Who is up on the show supporter big board today? Joe Raza, Thomas Hennian, Jose Lansang Jr., Brian Kaplan, and Carmine Tutera. Much appreciated and much love. You want to support the show? There will be a link down in the show notes below, and I will put one up above. Tremendous. Player A1 attempts an unsuccessful dunk. Player A2 grabs the rebound and successfully dunks the ball while A1 is still on the rim from the original unsuccessful attempt. Is that basket interference under Rule 4, Section 6, Article 1? Basket interference occurs when a player touches any part of the basket while the ball is on or within the basket. Asks Dan Ravenscroft. Sorry, Dan. And it's a great scenario, and it's one that will be featured on 5 Play Friday. We have the accompanying video. It's from a collegiate game. Player goes in to dunk, right? Misses the dunk, hangs on the rim legally, then comes back, reaches for the ball while holding the ring, but his teammate grabs the ball and dunks it immediately thereafter while the player is still in contact with the ring. And the rules reference here is appropriate. A player, while the ball is on or in the basket. So when the dunking occurs by the teammate, the teammate from the original dunk is still contacting the ring. To contact the basket while the ball is on or in the basket is basket interference. Basket interference, based on the description here, would be the correct ruling if we look at the play on Friday. We may have a player technical for playing the basketball or gaining an advantage by reaching for the ball while holding on to the ring. We may have that. But a great question. Simple solution. This would be a basket interference violation by rule, and we would have no goal in this situation. Okay? I'm getting the hang of this. I got a rhythm going. Okay. Thomas Maurer, I'm going with A1 is in the front court, attempts to pass to A2. A2 misses the pass, the ball goes into the backcourt. A2 runs after the ball, but as the ball is heading towards the backcourt end line, the ball is grabbed by bench personnel. So if not grabbed would have been an end line throw-in, but it was grabbed from A's bench. How do you handle, and is there a rule or case study showing this? All right. So Thomas, thank you for that question. That's gonna have to do some thinking here. What are the variables in this play, right? So we have a situation. It sounds like A1 is in the front court. We have front court. We're going to have a backcourt violation or an out of bounds violation. It sounds like in this situation, but we have a player from Team A's bench come out and contact the basketball, thinking that we had just had a situation where, the ball had already gone out of bounds or was obviously going out of bounds. They just reflexively reach out, let's say, and grab the basketball. What do we have? Do we have an unsporting action in this instance? Are we going to, right? So this is actually an interesting scenario in that we have the opportunity to enforce a rule, or we have an opportunity in this situation to go with a common sense approach. Common sense would say this is either going to be an end-line throw-in due to an out-of-bounds, or an end-line throw-in if A2 was able to contact the ball due to a backcourt violation. Has this player interrupted the game in a fashion, right? We would certainly be entitled and have the opportunity to assess a bench technical foul. This player has come onto the court and interfered with the game. They are liable for that. Definitely. We definitely have that option. Or probably depending on the level of play, we would have the opportunity to let common sense prevail in this situation and simply award an end-line throw-in to the opponent. But to do so, in theory, we'd be setting aside a rule in this situation. But again, that's why we make the big bucks. I think this is really going to be situation dependent, right? But of course, like what we'd like to always say is, well, apply this situation to a tie ball game with 4.2 seconds remaining, right? How are we going to handle this in the big high scrutiny game where we have no opportunity to say, well, we're going to fudge a little bit in this situation? Ralph Klosterman writes, I am a rookie first-year official. Could you please explain the closely guarded 5-second rule and when it ends? Yes, we can do that, right? So closely guarded in National Federation of High School Basketball rules, when a player is holding the basketball and a defender is within 6 feet, a closely guarded count shall be begun by the official who's adjudicating that matchup. The player has, within the 5 seconds, the opportunity to release a pass, to then dribble the basketball, shoot the basketball, or request a timeout. All of those opportunities are there, but if they fail to take any of those actions within 5 seconds, they are liable for a 5-second violation. That is a player who is holding the basketball. Also, National Federation of High School Basketball rules when a player is dribbling the basketball. Again, the same restrictions apply. They have the opportunity, well, in this instance, they'd have an opportunity to shoot, pass, request a timeout, or pick up the basketball, a player who's dribbling the basketball. And they must do one of those things within 5 seconds of a player being closely guarded. Now, when a player is dribbling the basketball, the 6-foot closely guarded distance is something that we're going to have to judge as basketball officials. It's maybe going to be a little less obvious. They're close and then further apart, close and further apart, right? There's a screen set. One player is closely guarding, and then another player from the opposite side of the screen picks up our dribbling ball handler. Is that player still closely guarded, even if it's by a second player in that instance? Yes, they are. So we're going to have to make a judgment in that instance. Of course, the scenario that is often brought up is, so we have a player who catches the ball and begins a dribble, and they are closely guarded, and we have player catches the ball and they are being closely guarded. They are looking for something to do. We are counting as basketball officials. We have a count. They dribble the basketball and are still closely guarded. Now we have a new count, a separate count for the closely guarded while dribbling the basketball. And then prior to the 5 seconds being closely guarded, they then pick the basketball up, which they're allowed to do, and are still closely guarded. And then we would have yet another closely guarded count, and they'd have within 5 seconds to do one of the things. In that instance would be to pass, shoot, or request a timeout. And if they failed to do so within 5 seconds in any of those scenarios along the way, they would be liable for a 5-second closely guarded violation. Larry Prince asks, are inadvertent contact to the head or face common fouls always a technical foul at minimum? Right? So when we have a player who there is contact from player A to player B in the head or face area, what are the options? A technical foul at minimum. Right? So let's clarify that situation. If we have live ball contact, first of all, live ball contact can never be a technical foul. So the play scenario we're describing is we've got head contact by an opponent. What level of foul would this be? Right? And we're going to make a judgment play. This is a judgment scenario. What is possible in this scenario? We can have a common foul. A player in a rebounding situation, let's say, turns with the basketball and contacts an opponent with the upper arm, let's say, right? Can this rise to the level of a common foul? In this instant, let's say a player control foul. simply just a player control foul? Yes. Yes, it can. Can this be an intentional foul by rule where the contact is excessive, right? Maybe we catch the player in the face with an elbow in a fashion that was not a natural part of our body movement. Definitely can rise to the level of an intentional foul. And in a case where a player, let's say, grabs the basketball, sees an opponent, and with intent and force contacts that player in the face with their elbow, can that be a flagrant? Absolutely, right? So in a situation where we have head contact on an opponent, can be either a player control foul, a intentional foul, or a flagrant foul. All three options would be on the table. We could have a no call in this situation as well. Let's say the contact was incidental and marginal, right? Just a brush or something like that with the contact. Could you direct me to the video in which you talked about uniform requirements in regard to undershirts, arm sleeves, etc.? Bill Brand. Thanks for that, Bill. I will put a link. Where am I going to put that link? I will put that link right here to the 5 minutes on officiating where we discuss that, right? I will put two links, one down in the show notes below, or both in the show notes below, to two videos, one a longer video where we talk about player equipment, etc., right? So it's really straightforward and it's really simple at the National Federation of High School Basketball level, and we can review it really quickly, right? Undershirts are an extension of the jersey. Simple, straightforward. Undershirts must be the same color as the predominant portion of the jersey. Green jerseys don't get to wear black t-shirts. Blue jerseys don't get to wear white shirts, etc. The t-shirt, the undershirt, is an extension of the predominant color of the jersey. That's separate. Now, players wear a lot of other equipment. They have headbands, they have wristbands, they have arm sleeves, they have elbow pads, they have knee pads, they have tights, they have leg sleeves, they have shin sleeves, etc. All of these things are considered to be what we call part of a package. They must be the same for each team member who participates in the game. They must be the same color. That color may be black, white, beige, or the predominant color of the jersey. So a team wearing red jerseys could wear red headbands, white headbands, black headbands, beige headbands, something I challenge you to find. I've never seen a beige headband. But all players who participate in the game must be wearing the same color for that auxiliary equipment, right? The home team has one fewer option. They can only wear white because they must wear white, black, or beige with their equipment. What is included in equipment? All of the things described previously. What is not included in the equipment? Braces, right? Most specifically, braces, right? Knee braces would not have a color restriction, right? I had a player last night in my game was wearing a shoulder brace. Does not have a color restriction, right? So all the paraphernalia that players wear, part of a package, black, white, beige, predominant color of the jersey. It's a simple way of doing it. More extensive explanation will be in the videos linked in the show notes below. Player A is dribbling the ball. Player B attempts to foul A by extending his leg into the path of A. Player B's athleticism escapes most of the tripped attempt and maintains his dribble and path. However, slight contact is made. I call intentional foul. Is that the correct call? Should I have called anything at all with minimal contact? That's from Jim Miller, and it's a great play scenario to think about, right? The implication here is that this was an intentional act by a defender attempting to trip a ball handler. And that's a key part of the equation. In that situation, if we have any level of contact related to an intentional act of attempting to extend a leg and trip that player, that would definitely be an intentional foul by rule. Now, remember that intentional foul does not depend on the severity of the contact. The contact in this instance may be slight, but the combination of the intent and the contact would definitely make this rise to the level of an intentional foul. If this was simply the player had their guarding position was illegal, and they had an extended leg, and the player was able to get past that extended leg by using their athleticism and not be affected by it, we may have no call in this situation. But if you're in your judgment, this was an intentional act by a defender, it should definitely be penalized as an intentional foul. 2 shots to the offended player or their eligible substitute, and a ball to the team at the spot nearest the foul. Okay. All right. We're down to our final viewer-submitted questions. Remember, if you have a question to submit to Basketball Rules Expert, you can find it at our website. I will put a link above. When a player reaches through the boundary and contacts the ball held by an opponent who is trying to inbounds the ball, is that a player or team technical? Brian Smith, glad you asked that question, right? So we have a throw-in situation. A defender violates the boundary plane, reaching through the boundary plane, and contacts the basketball held by an opponent. What kind of technical foul is it? Is it a technical foul? Yes, it is. This is a player technical foul by rule, and in this instance where we violate the boundary plane to achieve that technical foul, we would also assess a delay of game warning to the team. So a really simple and straightforward answer, this is a player technical foul by rule to reach through the boundary plane and contact the basketball. Of course, we have to be aware that if a player on the throwing team extends the ball through the boundary plane and it is now over the court, a defender may legally contact the basketball, may dislodge the basketball, may simply touch the basketball, may grab the basketball, creating a held ball situation. All of those would be on the table. But in a situation where a player violates the boundary plane and contacts the basketball, that would be a player technical foul by rule. One final question. Shooting a free throw, the front end of a 1-on-1, the ball comes to a complete stop and is resting on the back of the rim. If it was a 2-shot foul, I would have ruled it a miss and shot the second one. The ruling here was that Anthony's ruling on this play, Anthony Solis, thank you for this, was that this is a held ball situation, and we would go to the arrow to see who would have the resulting throw-in. So 1-on-1 situation, free throw attempt, the ball comes to rest on the flange, right? That's the back part that holds the ring. The flange, the ball comes to rest, stops. In this instance, the free throw has ended. Since we do not have a resulting action, since this was the first of a 1-on-1 free throw situation, the correct ruling in this instance would be held ball, go to the possession arrow to see who gets the resulting throw-in. In a situation where it was the first of multiple free throws and there were free throws to follow, the free throw has ended, but all merited free throws will still be attempted. something that it's great to think through in advance so when it happens in our game, we are prepared to adjudicate the play properly. All right, thanks to all who submitted. If you have a question you'd like to submit, I will put a link on the screen. I will put a link in the show notes. I will put a link up above. Submit your rules question, and it'll be covered on a future Basketball Rules Expert mailbag episode. Thanks for joining us today. Much appreciated. If you would do me a favor and do all of the things, the liking, the subscribing, and the notify, so you don't miss out on any of our new videos. We live stream every Wednesday and Friday. Join us for the live stream during the basketball season, which is running short. Allow me a moment to thank those who fuel our broadcast, our tremendous show supporters. Joe Raza, Thomas Hennian, Jose Lansang Jr., Brian Kaplan, and Carmine Tutera. Much appreciated and much love. You want to support the show? There will be a link down in the show notes below, and I will put one up above. Allow me to thank all who joined today, and I have for you additional video content available here. Here is last week's Basketball Rules Expert. Here is this coming week's 5-Play Friday. How can I do that? Make a choice, choose wisely, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody.